Showtime for Ome. During their travels in the Hone region, Ash, his best friend Pikachu, May, Max and Brock had come across a carnival that was set to open in the morning. After watching an impressive display from a magician and his assistant putting together a big tent, the gang decided to take a break from their travels and enjoy the carnival. Everyone was having a great time going on all the rides and eating a lot of carnival food. Whilst walking around, the crew noticed a poster lying on the ground. "Hey, what's this?" asked Ash as he picked the poster up. "It looks like one of those posters I've seen around the place for the Great Butler's Magic Show," Brock replied. "Hey, that sounds like fun. We should go and see it tonight," said May, getting excited thinking about it. "What about you guys?" "Sure. I haven't seen a magic show in years," Brock replied. "I've never seen a magic show." "It sounds like fun," said Max whilst chewing on cotton candy. "Then let's do it," agreed Ash. "I can't wait to see the show." That night the group were enjoying the magic show at the big top. The Great Butler himself was on stage performing a various amount of magic tricks that got the crowd clapping and cheering. Two clowns would occasionally appear on stage to help Butler set up for his next trick, jumping and cheering each time they came in. After the final magic trick of the night, Butler's assistant Diane and their Pokemon Mightyena and Curlia presented themselves one last time to thank everybody. "You've all been a wonderful audience. Thank you all so much for attending tonight and hope you enjoy the show," said Butler to the audience. Everyone clapped and cheered louder than before. "However, since you've all been so great, there's enough time for just one more trick for tonight. But for this one, I will need two members of the audience to come and help me. Now, who would like to have the chance to become magicians?" The audience all raised their hands and begged for a chance. Especially May and Ash, who rose from their seats eager to give it a shot. Butler raised his hand in the air with one finger pointing upwards. "I think I've found the perfect magicians to help me. I shall choose you and you," he called, pointing towards Ash and Maximum. "Whoa, that's awesome. Come on, Max, Pikachu, let's go," Ash cried, leaping off his seat. "Sure," replied Max nervously. Ash took his hand and jetted down the stairs whilst Pikachu jumped on Ash's shoulder. May looked really jealous and folded both her arms together tightly. "Why do Max and Ash get to go? I wanna be a part of the show too," she grumbled. "It should have been me out there. I should be the one to get to perform for Diane," moaned Brock, who, as always, was head over heels for any lady. "Typical you," she replied and went back to sulking. Ash and Max got onto the stage where Butler and Diane welcomed them on. "Welcome, fellow upcoming magicians. You look like you have a strong passion for show business. With your help, our final trick for tonight shall be one to remember." "What are your names, fellow magicians?" asked Diane. "My name is Ash and this is my partner Pikachu." "Pikachu." Max looked a little shy. "My name is Maximum." "The Great." "Then let's get started," Butler called, as the two clowns came back on stage to present a large box that they opened up. "Seeing as you are already great magicians, let's see if you can escape the burning box." "The burning box?" Ash asked. "All you have to do is escape the box before it bursts into flames." "I don't think I can," said Max nervously. "It'll be fine, trust me," said Diane with confidence. "You're magicians now, so you can do it." "But we aren't really magicians." The two clowns got behind the boys and gently pushed them forward. "Yeah, sure, but we aren't really clowns," said one of them, as they continued to push them forward until they were sitting in the box and closed the doors. "Dusclops, step forward," Butler called out to one of his Pokemon assistants. "Dusclops," it replied as it walked towards the box. The clowns spun and jumped their way cheerfully off the stage as Butler began to speak to the audience again. "Seeing as Ash and Max are great magicians already, they should have no trouble in escaping this box before it is destroyed by Dusclops' hyper beam." The audience gasped in shock. "They will only have 10 seconds to escape before it is destroyed, so let's begin the countdown." Butler began to start counting down whilst Dusclops began to charge up its hyper beam. "How are we supposed to get out of here?" Ash asked. "I dunno. There's got to be some sort of trick to this somehow." "I hope," replied Max nervously. The countdown was getting closer to the end and the audience were on the edge of their seat. Especially May, who was chewing on her popcorn fiercely. 2-1. "Dusclops, hit their beam," called out Butler. With that, Dusclops fired the beam towards the box. Ash, Pikachu, and Max suddenly went downwards inside the box to find themselves in a small room where the floor elevated them backwards. The hyper beam had now destroyed the box, leaving a trail of smoke and bouquets of flowers descending towards the audience, who were in awe. Meanwhile, Ash, Pikachu, and Max had stopped moving down below and started to be elevated upwards. The audience cheered as they saw that the boys had managed to escape the box perfectly. Incredible. Not only did they escape the box just in the nick of time, but they made bouquets of flowers appear as well. Just then, Ash, Pikachu, and Max were brought back to the top of the seating area. "Let's give it up for our new magicians, Ash, Pikachu, and Max the Great." The spotlights aimed themselves towards the boys and the audience clapped and cheered for them. Thank you," said Ash cheerfully, with Pikachu thanking everybody back. The boys ran back down towards the stage where Ash waved and thanked everybody once again. Just then a grabbing device appeared out of nowhere and got a hold of Pikachu, dragging it away. "Pika!" It jolted out as Ash turned around. "Pikachu!" he cried out as the device formed itself into a ball cage and landed in the hands of the two clowns from earlier up high on a mini blimp. "Now that's magic," said the female clown, as Pikachu tried to electric shock itself out of the cage. However, it didn't work and it kept trying again. "Your electric attacks won't work in our zap trap." "Give it up," replied the male clown. With that, the clowns flipped off their attire to reveal themselves as Jessie and James of Team Rocket. "Now on with the show," they both said. "It's Team Rocket," said Ash in anger. "Give me back Pikachu. For the final trick of the evening, we are going to make all the Pokemon disappear." Jessie said the net containing Mydina and Curly from below the blimp. The Pokemon tried desperately to get out but just couldn't do it. "The best part of the show begins now," said Team Rocket's third member, the talking cat Pokemon Meowth, who activated a switch by the spotlights to open up the big top's roof. He joined the rest of his team as the blimp began to float away. "Who's the clowns now?" they all said as they began to laugh. "We have to stop them," Brock said as he and May were preparing to get up from their seats to help. "I'll get him," Ash said, ready to throw one of his pokeballs. "Allow me," Butler said, looking calm and confident. "Behold," he called to the audience. "For our final performance, we have an encore. Dusclops, Capitata." Dusclops summoned up a blue flame and fired it towards Team Rocket's blimp. One of the ropes came loose and Jessica dropped the cage containing Pikachu as it opened up, freeing it. Ash caught Pikachu just in time before it hit the ground. "Pikachu," he said, feeling relieved. "What say we have an encore of our own?" Pikachu fired a thunderbolt attack, hitting Team Rocket, which broke the rope of the net containing Mideona and Curlia. The two Pokemon landed on their feet just fine. No magic show is complete without a vanishing act, so we saved the best part for last, called Butler, still making sure he was entering his audience. "Dusclops, use Nightshade." Dusclops then fired out a Nightshade attack which sent Team Rocket flying upwards towards the sky. "Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again," they cried, as they soon disappeared. "Bravo!" the audience cheered, all thinking that Team Rocket was all a part of the show. "Looks like those guys won't be back for an encore," said Brock, as he and May clapped along with the audience towards Ash and Max, who cheered happily. Later that night, after all the audience had gone, Butler, Diane and their Pokemon kept Ash and friends behind to thank them for their help. "It was no problem," Ash said happily. "Thanks for letting us be a part of the show." "The pleasure is all mine, gentlemen," replied Butler. "I'm sure you'll become great magicians someday." "We hope you get to come tomorrow night as well," said Diane. "Sure, we'd love to," Max said, not feeling so shy anymore. May was desperate to ask Butler a question and walked closer towards him. "Hey, Mr. Butler, sir. Do you think I could be a part of the show tomorrow night? Please, 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 please," she asked desperately. "Well, I shall see what I can do," replied Butler, unsure of what to say. "If some of these guys want to be a replacement assistant for you tonight, maybe I could book you a seat with me, Diane," said Brock, trying to make the moves on her. Max grabbed him by the ear and dragged him away. "The only assistant she needs is one to keep her away from you," said Max, feeling embarrassed. Diane didn't reply and just looked confused. Butler was deep in thought and then snapped his fingers. "Well, I just might have the perfect troll for you, if you'd like," he said towards May. "Really, you'll let me help you with the show?" she asked excitedly. The next morning, Max, Brock, Pikachu and Diane were outside the tent preparing to help set up for the show. They were waiting for Butler to appear out of the tent so he could show them something. "May I introduce to you our newest clowns, Ash and May," he called, as Ash jumped outside the tent. "Tada!" he called out happily, wearing a big clown jumpsuit with yellow and orange stripes, a big matching hat of the same colors, purple neck collar with big cotton balls and curled shoes. "What do you think, Pikachu?" "Pika," it replied, approving of his look. Just then May appeared, jumping out of the tent, also dressed as a clown. "Tadwo!" she cried, as she tripped over and landed face first on the ground. "Are you okay?" asked Ash, as he helped pick her up. "Yeah, I'm fine," she mumbled, feeling totally embarrassed. Her clown outfit was quite different to the one that was previously worn by James. She wore a pink-colored jumpsuit with yellow bow ties, 4 buttons covered in yellow polka dots, white puffy gloves, big red clown boots that curled at the tip with jingling bells attached, a white neck collar and a pink hat with jingle bells dangling off the ends. Her face was colored with white face paint and two hearts painted on her cheeks. To top off her costume was a big red rubber nose. "You look great, sis," said Max, looking at her costume. "Yeah, you really look the part," replied Brock. "Thanks," she said, feeling a bit happier. "I asked if I could have something a bit cuter from what that creep James had on last night." "Well, it suits you nicely," said Diane. "You'll be a great clown, I just know it." "Just remember to take it easy and do your best," said Butler. "I'm sure you'll be able to entertain everybody." "We sure will." "Come on, May, let's get ready for when all the people arrive," said Ash, encouraging his friend. "Then," she replied, following him. As the day went on, Ash and May were walking around the carnival handing out posters to Butler's magic show and doing their best to entertain anybody that came to see them. Ash was really getting into the swing of things and having a great time. He wasn't the best at trying to tell jokes, but he was quite animated and was slowly getting decent at juggling rubber balls. May, however, was finding it a bit hard. Her attempts to juggle resulted in getting hit on the head several times, and she often tripped over when trying to bounce around a lot. Eventually, Ash and May took a quick break after going around the carnival a lot to grab some food and sat down on a nearby bench with Pikachu joining them. Ash noticed that May wasn't all that talkative and looked a bit down. "You feeling okay?" he asked concerningly. "I dunno, Ash. I don't feel like I am really cut out for this job after all," she replied sadly whilst taking a sip of her soda. "Hey, it's okay. You're doing your best and that's what matters. I think you're doing fine." "Thanks, Ash. But I feel I need to talk to Butler about this too. I appreciate your concern, but I just need to make sure this is the right role for me." She got up off the bench and turned towards him. "I'll be back soon, okay? If I take too long, go ahead and carry on. I'll find you." "Sure, okay," Ash replied as he watched May walk off. "I hope she's okay, Pikachu," he said to his buddy. "Pikachu," it replied, feeling worried. May arrived at the big top where only Butler along with his Medina, Curly and Dusclops were inside practicing for the show. "Oh, hello there, May. How is it going out there? Are you being the best clown you can be?" "I'm trying to, sir, but I just don't think this is working for me," she said sadly. "Oh, but why not? I can't seem to get into the rhythm of this at all. I keep falling over. I can't make the audience laugh, unless it involves me being clumsy without intending to be. I can't think of any funny jokes. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this." Butler put his hands on May's shoulders, looking serious. "I'm so sorry this is happening to you. But you should never worry, my dear, because I can help you become the best clown you can be. I know just the thing that can help you." "Really? You know how to help me?" she asked, feeling a bit more hopeful. "Certainly. Why, my good friend Curly here always knows what to do whenever somebody is feeling down." "Curly, we need your help, my friend," he called out towards his Pokemon. "Curly," it replied gracefully, walking over to him and May. "Our clown in training needs your positive energy to help her to be the best clown she can ever be. Could you help her?" "Curly, Curly," it replied, as it looked towards May, telling her that it would be more than happy to help. "Thanks, guys. I really appreciate this, said May, now starting to warm up with a smile. She then kneeled down so it was easier for Curlia to be in contact with. Curlia, let's give our friend the help she needs, Butler said, as Curlia started to give full eye contact towards May whilst she did the same with Curlia. The Pokemon started to slowly chant and wave its hands in a rhythm around her. May kept full eye contact on Curlia, making sure to never look away, wondering what it was going to do. Then Curlia's eyes began to glow a dark shade of red as it continued to chant. May began to fall into a deep trance and her eyes lost all life in them, never looking away. Butler's welcoming smile soon changed into a more menacing one and began to chuckle. Oh, my dear May, you didn't suspect a thing, did you? I wasn't lying when I said I was going to help you be the best clown you can be. But I'm afraid you're going to be a permanent clown for my show and you'll always obey my every command. He then walked on over towards May, still heavily under Curlia's hypnosis. Excellent work, Curlia. Your hypnosis never ceases to fail. Curlia was still in full concentration. Butler then looked towards May, ready to speak to her. Now then, my obedient puppet, you will obey my every command forever. Do you understand? Yes, I'm at your command forever, replied May in a lifeless robotic tone of voice. From now on you are going to be known as Maisie the Clown. You shall always have your abilities heightened to where you are a near-perfect clown who can be acrobatic without fail. You'll be able to effortlessly make balloon animals for all the children. You'll be a great tamer for any dangerously wild Pokemon acts, be great at slapstick humor, know how to juggle without fail, and be a great assistant in my magic tricks. You will now address me as Master, but when around others you shall call me by the Great Butler. You will be my clown for life. So then, who am I? You are my master. Who am I when you are around others? The Great Butler. What is your new role in life and what is your name? My role is to be your clown for life. My name is Maisie the Clown. Excellent. You are very obedient, Maisie. You shall also allow me to take care of your Pokemon forever too. Yes, Master, you shall keep my Pokemon forever. Fantastic. Now then, I want you to test your new abilities as a clown. Climb up that pole there and walk across the tightrope. Yes, Master. May climbed her way up the pole, ready to start walking the tightrope. Being under deep hypnosis following Butler's orders was actually working at making her have better coordination. She walked across the tightrope effortlessly, not having any trouble at all. That's incredible, Maisie. Now then, come down here. May made her way back down and walked back to Butler, standing motionlessly waiting for an order. Now have a little dance using all those jumps and spins you were having trouble with before. May started to dance for him now, pulling off the spins and jumps without ever losing her balance this time. Butler chuckled to himself, feeling proud that he got May the way he wanted her to be. Well done, Maisie. I think you're just about ready to get back out there and continue to entertain everybody. Now go back out and be the best clown you can be. Yes, Master. May obediently walked out of the big top off to do what Butler had ordered. Butler chuckled, feeling very proud of himself. Excellent work, Curlia. The girl really wants to be in the show and be the best she can be, so I think we've done her a big favor. It also helps to have somebody completely obedient around after losing last night's clowns. People have quit being clowns for me far too many times in the past, but that won't happen ever again thanks to you. It couldn't have come soon enough that you would finally learn hypnosis, my faithful companion. The Great Butler's magic show shall continue on with no more interruptions ever again. Curlia smiled for its strainer, but deep down inside it wasn't at all happy with what it had been asked to do. It worried for the state of its dear friend. At the carnival, Ash was now passing flyers around to advertise 2 shows happening at the Big Tent that night. One was for a circus show and the other was for another showing of the Great Butler's magic show. He was also trying to find May, who still had not returned back. Pikachu, who sat on his shoulder, had now joined him, hoping to find her as well. Still no sign of May, buddy? Ash asked. It replied with a sigh of disappointment. I'm sure she's somewhere around here. Maybe she went to grab a snack or something. Pikachu suddenly raised its ears, hearing the sound of jingling bells. It recognized them from earlier. Pika-Pie, Pika-Pika, it cried out, pointing its hand out forward. You found her, Pikachu? Where? He looked on ahead and at long last noticed a familiar-looking clown. It was indeed May, who seemed a lot more acrobatic than earlier. She skipped, spun and jumped around, entertaining people who were passing by. They all were amazed at how flexible she was and were clapping for her. She would also stop for some children and make some balloon Pokemon for them like an expert. Despite wearing huge puffy gloves on her hands, she made the kids laugh by squeezing her rubber nose that made a honking noise when pressed. Whoa, Pikachu, look at her go. When did she learn to get so good that fast? Said Ash, looking in amazement. Pika-May headed towards them, still with the intent of entertaining people. Ash and Pikachu smiled as she got closer to them. Hey, May, you're rocking it right now. Way to go. Pika-May didn't even acknowledge them and passed on by continuing to do as she was ordered by her master butler. Ash and Pikachu watched as she skipped away, wondering if she had even heard them. I guess she's just really into the rhythm of it all right now. Guess we better carry on to Buddy, he said. Pikachu agreed, as the two of them carried on passing flyers. May continued to entertain audiences throughout the day under the constant trigger in her mind telling her to do everything Butler had ordered her to do. Eventually, she passed by the trailer where Butler was inside having a cup of coffee. He saw May jumping around outside the window and rushed on over to get her attention. Oh, Maisie, my dear, come on over here for a few minutes, would you? May stopped on a dime, hearing her master, and walked on over to him, devoid of any life she had been demonstrating before. Her empty, lifeless eyes were fixated on Butler, never looking away as she headed towards him. Butler closed the trailer door and sat back down in his seat. Now, Maisie, I need to give you some new instructions for some plans that are happening today, as well as improve yourself as a clown. It's so I call upon you, Curlia, my friend. He opened up his Pokeball containing his Curlia, who already knew what to expect when it saw May close up to a Curlia. We need your help once again to make Maisie an even better clown than before, and to remember the plans for tonight. Do your thing, the Curlia agreed, even though that deep down inside it wasn't happy with what it was asked to do. It felt too scared to retaliate against its hypnosis on May again because of how long it had been friends with Butler. But despite how it felt, Curlia did what Butler requested and began to use its hypnosis on May. May was in a deeper trance than before now, as the effects of Curlia's hypnosis grew stronger on her. Now, first off, Maisie, I have specific instructions about the circus going on tonight that I need you to hear. One of the performers has grown terribly ill and can no longer be on the show tonight. I need you to take this performer's place and take part in that show tonight. I trust in your incredible abilities and just know you'll be able to put on a great show for everybody. Do you understand what you need to do? Yes, Master May replied robotically. Fantastic. Next, I will need you to improve your skills as a clown. I forgot to take into account that whilst you have your amazing acrobatic skills along with everything else, you don't seem to show any emotion at all. I know. For you right now in your current state, but I need you to be jollier for me, okay? I have a reputation to keep and I can't let anyone be suspicious about what is going on here. If anyone asks anything about me, you will tell them that I gave you helpful advice to be the best clown you can be. So just enjoy your new life when around others, when I'm not here. When around me, be as monotone as you want. It only proves your loyalty to me. Yes, Master. The more in control Butler felt, the more devious he was beginning to sound. Never before had he ever felt like this, as he loved every single minute. He then got out a watch from his pocket. Now then, Maisie. Go back out there and continue doing what you do best. Only this time you will act a bit more human and love your life as a clown. When the time reaches 5 p.m. this watch I shall strap to your wrist will ring, and that's when you must return to me in this trailer. We need to get prepared for both the circus and my show around that time. Understand? Yes, Master. Excellent, Curlia. That will be enough now, please. Thank you very much, Curlia. It replied weakly, feeling tired out. Take a good rest now, my friend, Butler said, as he returned Curlia to its pokeball. Now then, Maisie, do you love being a clown? Tell me with some emotion in that voice of yours. Yes, Master. Being a clown is what I was always meant to be, May replied in a jolly tone of voice. She was acting much happier now, even if it was completely forced and the life in her eyes was still gone. Fantastic. Now get back out there and have some fun, your eye, she cheered, as she danced out the trailer heading back to the carnival. Butler chuckled to himself, feeling very proud as he closed the door. Meanwhile, Max and Brock, who were having fun on some carnival rides, had eventually joined up with Ash, who was now out of costume, taking a well-deserved break. After feeling dizzy from a few of the rides, they sat down on a bench to relax. So May must still be going around the place as a clown, has said Brock, asking on her whereabouts yet. She must be, 'cause I haven't seen her most of the day. She took off after feeling down about getting her role as a clown wrong, but she comes back later and now she's showing off tricks I never knew she had in her. It's a pretty amazing switch from what she was like earlier, Pika replied Pikachu in agreement with him. What kind of stuff was she doing then? Ash asked Maximum. I know my sister, and I know she's never been the most flexible person in the world. She was twirling, spinning, and dancing around the place like an expert. She was even making balloon Pokemon like she had been doing it all her life. Whoa, now that doesn't sound like the kind of things she would be doing. Are you sure it wasn't just a different clown? She did have a lot of white face paint on her, and most clowns wear that stuff. It was definitely May for sure. It's pretty easy to tell who it is under that face paint, and the costume was the same one she was wearing. How odd indeed, replied Max, thinking deeply about it. Just then a big pie appeared right before Ash's eyes and slammed right into his face. Pikachu jumped off his shoulder just in time to avoid being hit. Gaia cried out a familiar voice, as the boys turned around to see who it was. It was May who was laughing at her antics and skipped off to continue going around the carnival maze. "Hey, come back," Max cried out, as he chased after her. "Hey, May!" Wada followed Brock, as he ran off to catch her as well. Ash just watched in a state of confusion, covered completely in cream pie all over his face. "May, come back here a sec," Max called, as he and Brock continued to chase her. May looked back, giggling, as she skipped and twirled around the place. Eventually, she stopped and kneeled down to Max's height. Max and Brock stopped to catch their breath, as May got closer to her brother. Her state of mind didn't even recognize Max, as her brother treated him like any other child around the carnival. "What would you like then, little boy?" she asked in a soft and gentle tone of voice. It's me. I know just what you would like. A special balloon Pokemon just for you." May then took a couple of balloons out of her big pocket and began to start shaping them up into a balloon. "Jigglypuff, here you go, little guy. It's a Jigglypuff balloon just for you." She handed it over to a speechless Max, who was shocked at what she just did. She skipped on over to Brock. "For you, sir, a flower," she said, handing over a single daisy to him. Brock didn't even have the time to react, as May squeezed it and water shot out, hitting him in the face. May laughed at him and fell back on the floor, continuing to do so. It almost sounded genuine, if a bit forced. "Let's play again sometime." "Goodbye now," she said, and honked her rubber nose before jetting off. Max tried to hold in, giggling at the noise the rubber nose made. Ash had caught up with them with most of the cream pie now off his face. "Hey, guys, did you find her?" Yeah, we did," replied Max, just looking confused. "I guess she's super into her role now," replied Brock. "I can't understand how she got good enough to be that acrobatic and make amazing balloon Pokemon in just a short span of time. Maybe she has been keeping that talent hidden after all." Max pondered. "Whatever it is, she's pretty good at being a clown now. Hopefully, we can meet up with her later and ask about it," said Ash. "Hey, wait a sec," said Brock, who just remembered something. "There's that circus happening tonight at the tent before Butler's next magic show. Maybe she's going to be taking part in that tonight as well." "Good thinking, Brock. We'll watch it tonight and see if my sister shows up," replied Max. "She's probably really busy getting ready for it later on." "Sounds like a plan then," said Ash. "Let's head on over there tonight and catch up with her afterwards." The day progressed as expected, with May continuing in her role she was forced to play without ever taking a break. She showed no signs of stopping, unless she was ordered to. Eventually, the clock struck 5 p.m. and May headed immediately back to the trailer, as instructed. She quickly arrived and opened the trailer door, where Butler was waiting. "Amazing, welcome back," he said happily. Like a flick of a switch, the jolly and cheerful May went back to acting like her previous monotone robotic state of mind. "Now then, let's head on over to the tent. The ringmaster of the circus is awaiting us." "Yes, master." They both made it to the tent where the ringmaster awaited. Hello there, Butler, and your partner Maisie, is it?" "Hello there, sir, and yes, this is indeed Maisie," he replied, and shook his hand with the ringmaster. May remained in a lifeless state, staring blankly at the ringmaster. "Don't be shy now, my dear. Say hello," Butler told her in a friendly manner, even though to him it was an instruction. "Hello," she replied, now switched back to being jolly. "Why, hello there to you as well. Thank you so much for helping me out tonight. We could really use your help." "Leave it to Maisie, sir. She'll put on a show and the likes you have never seen before. Minnie, she's so good that all she will need is just one practice run." Why, she'll be asked for an encore. I just know it. Fantastic. So then, Maisie, let me show you exactly what you're going to be doing tonight, said the ringmaster. I'll stick around, if that's okay, said Butler. Maisie might want me around for some encouragement whilst you teach her. That's fine with me, replied the ringmaster with a smile. As he began to show May the acts she would be doing, Butler chuckled to himself. He felt proud that the ringmaster had no idea on what he had done to May to get her where she was now. The evening arrived and the circus was just about to begin. It was a full house with not a single seat left open. Ash and the gang waited patiently with popcorn in hand, waiting to see if May was going to show up. The lights then dimmed and the ringmaster appeared in the center of the tent with the spotlight shining down on him. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to tonight's circus. We've got a great show lined up for you all tonight, so prepare yourselves for some spectacular acts. So without further ado, the show, the audience clapped as he left the ring and the acts commenced. The show had a variety of acts throughout, such as the human cannonball, artistic cycling, fire dancing, pantomime, much more. The crowd were in awe watching the highly trained professionals show all their skills. So when do you think May is gonna show up? Max asked. Probably towards the end, I would assume. It's just gone past the halfway point and still no sign of her, replied Brock. Well, whenever she shows up, seeing what she's been working towards should be good, said Ash, hopeful of seeing her. Before the next act began, the ringmaster appeared again. Before we begin our next act, I'd like to inform you all that sadly one of our performers couldn't make it tonight, as she has fallen ill. But never fear, because a very kind volunteer has stepped in and has shown us some truly amazing skills. Prepare to be amazed, because it's going to be spectacular. Butler, who watched from the shadows, chuckled to himself. Oh, they will be indeed. My creation is going to be a hit. I can see the money just rolling in now, he said to himself quietly. The lights dimmed as the next act began. It started out with a man acting the role of a boy sitting down on the floor looking sad. The spotlight shone on him, showing the audience the sadness he was conveying. He had a big colorful bouncy ball and was playing by himself. The speakers played the sound of children playing together, which was telling the story of a lonely boy who had no friends to play with. Just then something from above was slowly descending from above the tent, and the actor looked up as well as the audience. It looked like a person descending downwards in a recognizable cloud jet that the audience remembered throughout the day. Ash and friends gasped as they now realized who the person was. There was May descending down the tent, attached to a system of pulleys and straps like a puppet. Look, there she is, Max said as quiet as he could. It's definitely May. May was playing the role of a clown marionette as part of an acrobatics act where the story was about a puppet becoming friends with a lonely boy. The pulley system put May on the ground and she walked to the actor stiffly like a puppet would walk. She tapped the actor on the shoulder, which prompted him to turn around and be shocked by her. May had a permanent smile fixed on her face and seemed to never blink, keeping in character of what a puppet would be. The pulley system raised her up and she began to twirl around in midair in a series of impressive acrobatics. She was put back on the ground and raised her arms out stiffly and was trying to tell the actor without any dialogue to throw the ball to her. The actor did just that and they both began to throw the ball back and forth, with May doing more acrobatics whilst she played with him. The actor playing the boy was showing happiness and was often being playfully tricked by May's antics. She would make him think someone was behind him or even pretend to not give him back the ball. Her antics made the audience laugh except for Max, who was more fascinated than anything else. Then the pulleys were dragging May back into the air as she waved goodbye to the actor. The actor didn't want her to go and pulled her back down and removed the straps connecting her to the wires, as if it were to break her free from her strings. May collapsed to the floor and sat motionless for a few seconds. She then jolted up on her feet and began to dance around the stage. She did her series of twirls and spins and even interacted with some of the audience as she skipped on over to the seats. She then got on a nearby unicycle and juggled some balls whilst she rode on it. The audience clapped and cheered loudly, feeling impressed with her skills. Ash, Brock, Max and Pikachu were speechless as they watched in amazement. "Okay, she could never have done this before. How on earth is this happening?" exclaimed Max. "No idea, but this is nuts. How on earth is she this good?" Ash replied, with Pikachu replying, "Officially have no explanation anymore," said Brock, struggling on finding the words to say to end the act. May pointed towards the tightrope up above, showing the actor what she was going to do next. She climbed up the pole and started to walk across the tightrope like an expert. The audience continued to cheer whilst Ash and friends had their jaws wide open in complete disbelief. May then stood on one foot and spread her arms out to keep in balance. The smile never left her face and was still constantly making sure she pleased Butler and the ringmaster. She eventually came back down and danced towards the center of the ring. May honked her rubber nose just in time with the ending of the circus music playing in the background, thus ending the act. The audience stood up from their chairs, clapping and cheering louder than ever. Ash and the others couldn't even muster to get up at all, still in amazement at what they had just seen their friend perform. The ringmaster headed back onto the stage and stood next to May. "Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for Maisie the Clown," he cried. "Maisie the Clown," Max called out in shock. "That must be her stage name," Brock replied. "Never expected that, but it in the works, I guess," said Ash. Pikachu agreed. "What an amazing performance, folks. Look forward to seeing Maisie once again tonight at the Great Butler's Magic Show, where she will be his trusty assistant. Give it up once more for Maisie." The audience's cheers got louder than ever, and Butler, still in the shadows, felt very pleased with May's performance. "Fantastic. She's turned out just the way I wanted her. There is absolutely no way I'll be giving her up now. That girl is fully under my power and nobody suspects a thing. Maisie is a gold mine that I will keep forever." He started to laugh to himself manically at his success, unheard by anyone through the loud applause. He was dead set on making Maisie a household name for the rest of his career. To a close, and May was the star of the show. The audiences were speaking amongst themselves as they left the tent about how amazing they thought she was. Butler's magic show was set to begin within an hour, so everybody had a chance to get some fresh air whilst the tent was being prepared for the show. Ash, Brock, Pikachu and Max were the last ones in the tent, hoping to try and find May. Butler noticed they were still hanging around and walked on over to them. "You kids still here, I see," he said. "Yeah, we were hoping to catch up with May before the show started, just to congratulate her," replied Ash. "We haven't seen much of her all day, so would it be okay to see her?" asked Brock. Butler had a feeling they would ask about May. He was determined to make sure nobody was suspicious about what he was doing, so he responded in a flash, "I'm sorry, but May is very busy right now." Lots of preparation is needed for her to get ready for the show, and she can't be disturbed, but she's our friend. She probably appreciates getting to see us before the show, said Ash. I understand that, Ash, but show business is a very busy process. She understands that and said that she will catch up with you as soon as the show is over, okay? Ash and the others looked disappointed. Max was especially annoyed because he had so much he wanted to ask her about how on earth she got so acrobatic. Ash suddenly realized something and spoke up. Hey, Butler. You had 2 clowns in your previous show, so I still need to do my part, right? You said you needed some replacements, and May wasn't the only one. Blast, I completely forgot about this brat, he thought to himself. I don't need his help anymore, now that Maisie is the only clown I need. But if I take him away, then his friends will get too suspicious and my plans will eventually be ruined. I can't afford to lose my gold mine and give her back to her friends. If I'm going to keep her in my services, then I need to settle this tonight, Butler asked Ash, wondering why the few moments of silence. Oh, I'm sorry there. I just realized something about the show. We won't be needing your assistance after all. What? But why? Because some of the tricks I'll be performing tonight won't require you both. Based on you and May's performance, I feel that she will be best suited for tonight's show. Really? Aw man, Pikachu, replied Pikachu, disappointed in his response. Show business is a tough road. Trust me, it was very difficult to pick between you both, as the both of you are so good, but in the end only one is required tonight, and after being the judge I have had to go along with May. I'm sorry, Ash. No, it's okay. I understand where my true talents lie. Mine is to be the world's greatest Pokemon master, he said, beginning to feel proud of himself. I won't stop until I accomplish my true goal, but thanks for giving me a chance, sir. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for understanding, Ash. I wish you the very best of luck in your journey. I'll be waiting for you to appear in the Pokemon League. Butler smiled, not only to keep his cover intact, but at the same time he did slightly admire his determination. Ash reminded him of when he was his age. So we can see May after the show for sure, right? Asks Max, starting to feel impatient. Of course, Max the Great, she has said she will see you immediately afterwards, so don't worry. Okay then, he replied with a sigh. Then we have a lot of work to do, kids, so I'll need you to step outside while we prepare. See you later on. Sure, okay. Looking forward to watching you and May again, said Ash with a smile as the group headed outside. Butler started walking backstage to find May, feeling relieved he had got rid of the kids. Now the show can go on without a problem. After tonight, Maisie will be mine forever. Butler found May standing perfectly still in one spot backstage whilst crew members were carrying out equipment to put on the stage. The bells on her costume jingled as she turned around to face Butler walking towards her. Aw, there you are, Maisie, my number 1 clown. You were truly amazing out there. May didn't respond and just continued to stare lifelessly at him, awaiting an order. Let's head back to the trailer quickly and go over plans. So coming up, follow me. My dear Diane, who had been busy all day preparing for the show, appeared backstage and caught up with Butler. Hello dear, how are preparations going? She asked. Everything is going just fine, Diane. You missed out on an amazing circus. May here is a truly gifted individual and stole the show you performed in the circus. Diane asked, looking at May. Being asked a question from somebody else from Butler triggered May into acting happy and jolly. Yes. I was the best clown ever in the circus, she replied enthusiastically. I took over for somebody who was feeling sick. Oh, I see. Well, I'm sure you were brilliant out there. Thank you very much for helping out with that in our magic show. We really appreciate all your hard work. She smiled. Thank you, May replied and did a jumping twirl. Diane, I need to head back to the trailer with Maisie really quickly. I shall rejoin you shortly. Okay then. See you both very soon, she said, then walked off to go and help set the stage up. May then went back to being monotone and looked towards Butler. Well then, Maisie, let's go to the trailer now. Yes, master, she replied and walked behind him inside the trailer. He instructed May on how she would make her entrance and what she would need to bring out on stage for his magic acts. Before heading back out, he remembered he had to make sure he found a way to keep May to himself after the carnival would be over. Knowing everything would be packing up and leaving in the morning, he then started to get serious with her. Now listen to me, Maisie. After tonight's show, we will be leaving this place to go traveling around the world to do our shows for many other people. With your amazing performance today, I have decided that you will be staying as my clown forever. Of all the clowns I've ever worked with, you are the greatest one I have ever known and really want you to stay with us. I know you must have your own goals being with your friends and brother, but the time has come for you to say goodbye to them. You are a clown now, and your destiny is to entertain thousands of people throughout the world. He took a deep breath before speaking again. No response came from May, as she obediently listened to his every word. He took out his poke ball containing Curlia, ready to deepen his grip on her. Come on out, Curlia, he said, this time sounding more serious than enthusiastic. He opened the ball and Curlia was released. It was looking a little bit puffed out. Curlia, my friend, I need your help one last time today. Maisie is taking part in our show and needs your assistance. Curlia, it replied, not feeling all that good. It got on with it and cast its hypnosis on May once again. May bended down slightly and her arms raised upwards a little, as Curlia was increasing its hypnosis on her. Listen carefully, Maisie. It's about your two friends and your little brother Max. I want you to completely forget about them and focus on your new life as a clown for me. If they ask about you going back with them, then you will tell them that you are going to travel with me for a little while to improve your skills as a clown. You will tell them that you will rejoin them again when I can find other clowns. But you already know that you will stay with me forever to be Maisie the clown for the rest of your days. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Master, May responded. I'm Maisie the clown now and will leave my friends and brother Max to be with you. Excellent. Curlia, you may stop now. Curlia stopped its hypnosis and was starting to wobble around a bit. Now then, Maisie and Curlia, let's get back to, but before he could finish his sentence, Curlia then collapsed on the floor and passed out. Curlia? Curlia, Butler cried and picked up his Pokemon, feeling really worried. Curlia, please open your eyes. Curlia opened its eyes weakly and tried to move. Kiki, oh no, this is terrible. We need to get you help and quick. Just then Diane came rushing into the trailer, slamming the door open as she came in. Butler, what's wrong? I heard you calling out just now. What's going on? She saw Curlia in his arms. Deacon rushed over to his side. Oh no, what's wrong with Curlia? Curlia, are you alright? Butler's mental state was all over the place. He was scared for his friend and didn't even realize that it was his own fault. He didn't consider that Curlia would tire out from using its new hypnosis ability too much. At the same time, he was dead set on making sure the magic show was a success, but without Curlia being able to do it, he was lost. Butler, what happened to Curlia? How did it get like this? Diane asked. I have no idea. We were just about to get ready for the show and it just suddenly fainted. What am I going to do now? Curlia looked upon Butler with a sad look, knowing that what its friend had asked was too much for it to handle. Deep inside its heart it felt terrible for making May a slave for Butler and wanted to show anger towards him. But it was too tired out to do so and felt scared about how Butler would react. Butler just looked at it in a state of confusion. He had gone so mad with power that he was no longer thinking straight. Butler, I'll stay here and look after Curlia. You need to get ready and put on the magic show, she told him, but Diane, I need you. Without you or Curlia, what am I going to do without my helpful assistance? Diane then just realized that May was in the trailer as well. She was so focused on what was wrong with Curlia that she didn't notice her. What about May, she said, and stood up holding Curlia in her hands to talk with May. May, I know you've been really busy already today, but can I be a pest and ask for your help on this one? I hate to ask when you have enough on your plate, but would you be okay with taking over the roles Curlia and I do? We have separate acts, so you won't need to play double roles. May just stood there, still in a slanted posture, staring blankly forwards. May, are you alright? She asked, looking concerned. You seem to be a bit lost. Butler dashed towards May and immediately took action. Please, could you help us out? I'll show you what you need to do, he asked, knowing full well she would agree. May triggered into her jolly state of mind. Yes. I'll help you, she replied cheerfully. Diane wanted to say thanks but found her behavior quite strange. Her reaction and behavior, something about it seemed quite unnatural. She didn't look concerned at all for Curlia and looked really out of it. Is something the matter? Oh, thank you so much, my dear. We are eternally grateful for your assistance today. We must leave at once and get prepared for the show. Okay. Let's go, she replied and did the spin. Diane was still watching May, not feeling entirely convinced that she was alright. Thank you, Diane. As soon as this is over, I'll get back to Curlia right away and do what I can. Okay then. Good luck, you two. Curlia will be just fine, so don't worry too much. I'll take good care of it, Diane replied, trying to give Butler some encouragement. Thank you. Let's go, Maisie the clown, and get this show ready. Yay, showtime. They both left the trailer and headed off back towards the tent. Diane sat down with Curlia, still thinking about the situation. It's okay, Curlia, I'm right here for you, she said, smiling. Curlia, it replied weakly. Time passed and the audience were all sat back in their seats, eagerly waiting for the show to begin. Ash, Brock and Pikachu were excited to watch it again, mainly for how May would take part. Max wanted to feel the same but still couldn't shake the feeling that something felt off. The boys looked towards him, wondering what was up with him. Aren't you excited to see May perform again, Max? She's been amazing tonight, so cheer up. She'll need you to cheer her on, Brock told him. Yeah, I know, but I feel like something is wrong and it's really bugging me. Like what? Asked Ash. I dunno. I just feel like something isn't quite right. Maybe you're just feeling impatient on finding out how your sister was so talented. It won't be long till we can see her again, and then you can ask all the questions you need to, replied Brock. I guess I'm just not sure. Just then the lights dimmed and an announcer was heard on the Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Give it up for the greatest magician you've ever seen. Here's the great butler along with his faithful sidekick Macy the clown. The audience cheered and clapped as loud as they could as they saw Butler and May walk onto the stage. They were both smiling at everybody and waving their arms to say hello. "Look, there she is," said Ash excitedly. Picker replied Pikachu happily and waved towards her. "She's looking pretty happy out there. She's bound to put on a great show," said Brock. Max didn't say anything and just clapped. "Welcome everybody once again to the great Butler's Magic Show," Butler called out. "Tonight we've got an even greater amount of tricks up our sleeves, even better than the previous night. For those new to the show, don't worry, because some of our most spectacular tricks will get another showing tonight. But before we begin, I'd like to make an announcement. Unfortunately, my lovely assistant Diane and my good friend Curly are unable to perform tonight due to some unexpected events, but do not worry. They will be just fine and are with you all in spirit. But tonight we have the one and only Maisie the Clown to help us out in their absence. Please give this amazing clown the applause she deserves." The audience did just that and even rose from their chairs to root her on. May waved at the audience and did a few spins on the spot. "Thank you, everybody. I'll do my best," she said cheerfully. "Now then, let's get on with the show," Butler called out, and the show got well underway. Just as Butler had hoped, the show went on well without any issues. May was doing exactly as instructed for each act and never once got anything wrong in the short time she had to practice. The audience were giving the biggest applause for all the acts May was a part of, as she was the most impressive to them. Meanwhile, back in the trailer, Diane sat quietly with Curly, who was fast asleep on her lap. She was still pondering about what caused it to get this tired, as well as May's behavior. "I may be overthinking all this, but what if both of these events are somehow connected? Am I just getting ahead of myself, or is there perhaps some truth to it all?" The trailer door opened and a crew member came in to check up on the both of them. "Hey, how you holding up here?" Some of the guys spread the word that Curly wasn't feeling too good, so I came to see if you were okay. "Thank you," she replied. "Curly is just taking a rest. Hopefully, it'll be okay once it wakes up. Poor little thing. Wonder what exactly happened to it. I don't know. But I can't help shake the feeling that something is going on and that it isn't good." Just then Curly opened its eyes, noticing Diane and the staff member. "Hey Curly, how are you feeling?" Diane asked it. It replied with a faint smile. "We are all here for you and will do what we can to help you feel better," she replied, smiling back. Curly then looked towards the staff member and then got an idea. It sighed, knowing that it didn't want to do what it planned on doing. What's wrong? Curlia asked the staff member. Curlia looked towards Diane and tried to ask her to watch what it was going to do. Are you okay, Curlia? Are you trying to tell me why you got tired out? Diane asked. It nodded its head and turned its attention towards the staff member. Curlia's focus was purely on him and started to use the strength it had left to use its hypnosis on him. Curlia? What are you doing? Asked Diane, feeling quite shocked. Curlia stopped using its hypnosis on the staff man and he began to fall asleep. It then looked towards Diane, still in complete shock, and tried to explain to her what Butler had been up to. No longer could it hold back and went full out on the truth. The guilt it felt was too much for it to bear. Curlia, what are you trying to say? Diane asked, not understanding its Bachman language. Curlia desperately tried to make her understand by also using its hands to explain the situation. It took some time, but Diane was now starting to slowly piece together things. So you can use hypnosis now, and you were using it on somebody? But who was it? May's strange behavior earlier. No, it couldn't be. Curlia, did you hypnotize that girl to enhance her abilities? Curlia, it replied, and then looked downwards, feeling really sad. Diane could tell that Curlia wasn't happy about doing what it did and started to piece together something else. You didn't want to do this, so somebody made you do this to poor May? It nodded its head without saying anything. Diane's eyes widened as she thought about who could have done it. No, please, no. Don't tell me it was Butler. Curlia nodded its head again and drifted off back to sleep, feeling tired from using its powers again. Diane remained silent for a few seconds, shocked that the man she had been childhood friends with would do such a thing. She didn't want to believe it, but knew denying so wouldn't solve saving May. This isn't happening, she said to herself. She then slapped the staff man to snap him out of Curlia's hypnosis. What was that for, Diane, and what's going on? I'll explain later. I really need you to watch Curlia for me. Something wrong is happening and I need to go and sort it out, please. Sure, okay, he replied and stood up. You feel all right, Diane? You look really worried. I'll be back soon. Please keep watch, she said, and charged out of the trailer, heading towards the tent. Butler, what is wrong with you? Meanwhile, the magic show was coming to a close. The final act was about to begin, which was the exploding box trick from the previous night. Thank you, everybody, for being such a wonderful audience this evening. We shall end tonight with the greatest trick I have up my sleeve. May came onto the stage, pushing a big box onto the stage. She was just about to head backstage when Butler stopped her for a second. My amazing assistant Maisie the Clown will be taking part in trying to escape the burning box, in which she will escape the box before it bursts into flames. May cheered, clapping her hands, and skipped on over to the box. She sat inside it and Butler sealed it up. Dusclops, step forward, he called, as his Dusclops walked on stage. Being that Maisie is amazing at everything she does, she will have no problem escaping the box before it is destroyed by Dusclops' hyper beam. She will only have 10 seconds to escape, so let's begin the countdown. As the countdown began, the audience were getting tensed up. Ash and Max already knew how the trick worked but was looking forward to the result nonetheless. Brock was the most excited out of them, even if he had watched it already. Butler was pumping up the audience, getting louder as each number went down. 4, 3, 2, stop. Stop, the show called out a voice from behind the curtain. Butler stopped and turned around to see Diane running on the stage. Butler was lost for words and tried to convince the audience this was part of the show. Well, it seems my lovely assistant Diane has made a special guest appearance for the show's finale. Give her a round of applause, he said nervously. What is she doing here? Can't this wait? Diane rushed over to the box and opened it up to reveal May still sitting inside and got her on her feet. The audience looked in a state of confusion as all their excitement faded away. Butler was now beginning to panic as he had worked out why Diane had let May out. Everybody listen to me, Diane called out with a look of sadness on her face. This girl is not in the right state of mind at all. Diane, what are you doing? Butler asked, now beginning to shake. Diane pointed her finger towards Butler with a look of rage on her face. That man has put this girl in a deep hypnosis, forcing her to be his slave. Our friend Curly was forced to hypnotize her. The audience were deeply shocked, as well as Ash's group, who immediately rushed on over to their friend. You've gone mad, Butler. Ever since Curly learned that ability, you have become obsessed with power, and now you have led Curly to the point of exhaustion. It couldn't cope with its powers, and you've made it feel so guilty for its actions. What is wrong with you? Butler was speechless now, in a state where his friend, since childhood, was now against him. Down upon him angrily, and his Pokemon walked away backstage, feeling disappointed in him. His emotions were building up, thinking about all the events that had transpired. No, what have I done? He yelled, as he collapsed to the ground, clenching his hands on his head. May cried out at his group as they got on stage to help May. May stood there lifelessly like a doll and didn't react to anything around her. May, it's us. Wake up, said Ash, waving his hand in front of her. There was no response. He took her by the shoulders and shook her back and forth. May still didn't react to anything, no matter how hard Ash tried. Max was enraged and walked on over to Butler, who was in a state of despair. I knew that something was wrong. What have you done to my sister? Why won't she wake up? He shouted angrily. Butler looked towards Max but couldn't muster up any words to respond with. Give back my sister, he demanded, feeling the verge to punching him. Max, calm down, said Brock, and held him back from doing anything reckless. He turned his attention to Butler and looked angry as well. Do something about this, he said firmly. Your reputation is already damaged, so don't damage yourself anymore for the sake of others. Butler knew Brock was right. He had already lost his audience's respect and even Diane's. The woman who he had been friends with since childhood was also the woman he now had romantic feelings for. If he lost her, then he would be truly alone. He stood up and started to confess towards everybody. Everybody, what you see and have heard is all true. I did force Curly to hypnotize this girl and enhance her abilities through complete obedience to me. I've been feeling ashamed of myself lately. After last night's fiasco with Team Rocket and losing more clowns, the stress got to me. So many times we have lost many talented people, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So, when my friend Curly learned hypnosis and I saw that May here was having trouble, I wanted to help her. So I hypnotized her to make her better. But the power of having somebody at my command got to me, and I lost sight of myself and became corrupt. I want to undo the wrongs I've done, so please. Butler was about to shed a tear but tried to hold it in. Diane knew what he had done was completely wrong and was angry at him, but deep down she could tell he was being genuine. She knew he was going through a lot of stress, as she had seen it throughout the months of shows they put on. Please, will you give me the chance to undo what I have done? He asked everybody in the tent. The audience spoke amongst themselves with mixed feelings about what was happening. Max, however, nodded his head, agreeing to Butler's request. Fine. But please get my sister back to normal, Max the Great. I promise you I will make things right. Butler took a few minutes break to return to the trailer to get Curlia. Ash and Max went along with him whilst Diane and Brock stayed with May. Curlia opened its eyes to see Butler walk in and immediately hesitated to look at him. Curlia, I understand now that what I have done was wrong. I forced you into doing something you didn't want to do and have tired you out to the point of exhaustion. I feel like the worst friend ever. Curlia was surprised to hear him feel guilty for what he had done. It turned to look at him and could see the guilt in his eyes. I promise you that I will never do this to you ever again. From now on I'll wait the normal way for a new clown to help us in future shows. I'll never force it upon people ever again. Nobody should be forced into becoming something they are obeyed to do. They have the choice to do what they can. So please, Curlia, can you ever forgive me? Curlia felt the truth in his words and felt like that its friend had finally woken up and seen the light. It managed to walk on its own 2 feet and jumped into his arms, cuddling him. You forgive me? Curlia, it replied happily, meaning that it said yes. Tears of joy began to stream down Butler's face as he cuddled his Pokemon. I'm so sorry, he sobbed. Curlia, it replied with a tear in its eye. Ash and Max smiled, knowing that Butler was now back to being himself. In order to fix this mess I've caused, I need your help one last time. Curlia, Butler told it. Curlia, it replied, knowing what he was going to say. I need you to break May out of the hypnosis and return her to normal. Can you do that? Curlia, fantastic. Now everybody, let's get back and fix this. Got it, replied both Ash and Max. As they headed back to the tent, Butler and the others returned to the stage with Curlia in tow, ready to finally fix things. Butler, Curlia, said Diane in relief, knowing that Butler was going to keep true to his word. Everybody in the audience, once again I apologize for the monster I have been and will now show my apologies by getting May back to her normal state. Curlia, do you think? Curlia, it replied happily and gracefully danced its way over to May, who was still standing lifelessly. Curlia, now energized with hope, concentrated on May and began to chant in front of her. May's attention was focused on Curlia, as Butler walked on over to instruct May one last time. Maisie, no. May. When I snap my fingers at the count of 3, you will return to your normal self. Maisie, the clown is over now and the girl you once were will return. 1, 2, 3. He snapped his fingers and Curlia finished chanting. The life had completely returned to May's eyes and she jumped, seeing the audience and realizing she was on the stage. Where am I and what's going on? She cried in a state of shock. May. You're back, cheered Max, as he went to cuddle his sister happily back. What's going on here? What am I doing in the tent? It's a long story, May. We'll explain later, once the audience has finished cheering for you. Ash smiled and pointed to her, the audience, who clapped and cheered for her and Butler. May had no idea what was going on and looked really confused. She turned around to see everyone else smile at her, give them a wave, May. We'll explain everything afterwards, Diane insisted. Oh. Okay, she replied. She waved at the audience and began to smile. Thank you, she called out, even if she still didn't know what to think. Diane looked towards Butler and smiled at him. Diane, I'm so sorry for everything I've done. I lost sight of myself and became somebody I'm not. You must hate me, right? Diane walked closer to him and took his hand. What you did was wrong, Butler. But at least you realized your mistakes before it was too late and corrected them. I'm just happy the Butler I know is back. I have you to thank, Diane. If it were not for you and Curlia, then I would have gone down the wrong path. Thank you for stopping me. The both of them hugged each other happily, as Ash and the others smiled, for the morning had arrived and the carnival had come to an end. Butler had already had a private chat with May to explain everything that had happened since yesterday. She was furious for him controlling her, but after his deepest apologies she eventually forgave him. She rejoined Ash, Brock, Max, and Pikachu with a bouquet of flowers in hand. Did Butler give those to you? Asked Ash. Yet. It was his way of saying sorry for everything he's done, and as thanks for helping him, even if I have no memory of anything that's happened. So many hours of my life gone, and I wish I knew what I was doing. Well, I remember you throwing a cream pie in Ash's face. It was actually pretty funny, now that I think about it, said Max, beginning to chuckle. Oh, Max, don't you bring that up, said Ash, feeling really embarrassed. Then afterwards you used one of those fake flowers to squirt water in Brock's face. Max was now beginning to properly laugh. Wait, I did all that, replied May in shock. Max couldn't stop laughing and then remembered something else. That rubber nose you had on was funny as well. When you squeezed it at me. May was fascinated by what she told her, and then remembered something she had in her pocket. She took it out and smiled at Max. Oh. You mean this one? She said, showed him the rubber nose she had gone from yesterday and squeezed it. To him making a honk noise. Max collapsed on the floor and laughed harder than ever before. Ash, Pikachu, and Brock laughed too, seeing Max laugh, which eventually led to May joining in as well. After everything at the carnival was packed up onto the trucks, the kids were standing by Butler and Diane's truck. Butler and Diane were looking out the window, speaking with them. Well, it's been fun, but it's time for us to move on. We've got plenty more shows to do, said Butler. We'll be setting off now, Ash replied. It's been fun despite the mess that's now been sorted. Thanks to you and your crew for making this a fun break for us. The pleasure is ours, guys. We hope you can come again soon one day and watch our show. We look forward to it, replied Brock. Let's make the next time we meet up even better, said Max. If you need my help to be Maisie the Clown next time, then just say the word, said May, giving a friendly wink to him. But let's do it the normal way next time, okay? You have my word, May. I'm a better man now, and I have all of you to thank. No problem, Butler. You and Diane take care. Good luck with your futures, everyone, said Diane. I look forward to our next encounter. The truck's engine began to start, set to take the lead for all the other drivers with their trucks. Butlers began to drive away, and he and Diane waved out the window. Goodbye, Ash, Pikachu, May, Brock, and Max the Great. Until we meet again, goodbye, replied the others, as they watched all the trucks drive away, taking the carnival with them. They kept on waving till they were out of sight. Well, I suppose we better get going too, said Ash. Lead the way, Ash. "To our next adventure," replied May happily, as they all headed off in the opposite direction to continue their journey. As Butler and Diane drove away, they looked back at the empty field where the carnival once stood. "It's only been for a little while, but I'm already starting to miss those kids," said Diane, recollecting on the events that transpired. "As will I, Diane." "As will I," replied Butler in a soft tone of voice, also thinking back on everything. But one thing, however, stood out in his mind. Many weeks had passed since the events of the carnival, and Ash's journey with his friends continued as normal. Ash won another gym badge in his quest to enter the Hone Pokemon League, and May had earned her next ribbon in another Pokemon contest to become the best Pokemon coordinator. Sometimes, however, May would have some strange instances where she faded out and woke up not knowing what was going on. When it came to some random evenings, those moments lasted longer, but she would always wake up still in her sleeping bag, not even knowing it happened. As time went on, these fade outs would grow worse each time. When it happened, a different personality was within her mind. That personality would be wearing colorful clothing and have a cheerful attitude. Sometimes a certain person would appear in those moments as well. Someone who she felt like she had to listen to and obey every command that person made. Small pieces of her mind would slowly fade as time progressed, completely unaware that she would become something else. The end.